Whoa.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. I am Katie. This is Caitlin. It's National Beer Day, so we know on brand is to drink wine with us. But if you happen to be joining us tonight, we will let it slide. You can have some beer. It's National Beer Day. We drink beer as well. We don't fully discriminate. But here we are on National Beer Day. This is also our first episode of April. Can't believe it's April already.
I don't know how we got here, but we're here.
Here we are. It is episode 154. We have a great one for you. Lots of awesome breaking news that we cannot wait to jump into. All the best in the world of football and housewives. But first, we're going to kick off our show with questions that we got from you guys, the fans. We asked you on Instagram, on Twitter, all social media platforms to send us in your questions. And we have three good ones here. So let's start with this first one. We have a combo here, a combo of housewives and football. And it also goes with National Beer Day. So who is one football player and one housewife that you would want to drink some beers with?
Ooh, who are we drinking some brews with? I feel like, and this is like not biased, like just being like Giants fans, I feel like I got to take a couple beers back with Eli. Like I feel like I feel like you gotta, like we saw the pictures of him and Daniel Jones out in Hoboken. Eli was like showing him the way of Flip Cup. Like we read the story where like his wife packed him up a couple hot dogs and a Bud Light after every game. You know, Eli slugs beers. Like he slugs them every day. Like, so I would just love to, buy a 30. I'm not having 15 beers, I promise you, but buy a 30 pack, sit down with Eli, like on a nice like night like this, real nice, on a porch patio, and just shoot the shit and just have a couple beers with him.
My brother's always been convinced that Eli is a Bud Heavy guy and that he just throws back Bud Heavies and sings karaoke. That's what my brother has always been convinced
of. That article did say it was Bud Light, so I don't want to ruin Ricky's like dream of a Bud Heavy Eli.
Maybe it's just when he's dieting. Maybe when he's doing what he wants, he's throwing back Bud Heavies.
It was every game in season, so maybe he is cutting back a little bit. So the hot dogs aren't healthy, Eli, but I guess the Bud Lights are. And then for a housewife, oh God, this is, what I'm finding more and more like this season, and maybe it's just because like I get like nostalgic with like the New Jersey women going to the Jersey Shore because like that's all they can really do right now during COVID. Like I feel like a lot of them in their prime could probably take back a couple beers. And I know someone like Dolores doesn't drink much, but I'd love to sit outside with her on a nice night like this too and just take some beers back and talk to her. I've always loved Dolores, but I'm really loving her this season so far.
Me too. It's funny you bring that up because I was thinking the other day that like, when we always talk about who we love, I'm like, we never give enough mention of Dolores. And I really do love her. And I really think she's such a vital, important part of Real Housewives of New Jersey. So glad you brought that up and would love to drink beers with both of them. Yeah. Eli is my answer football-wise. Definitely on par with you there. The girl that I want to throw beers back with, who'd just be like a fun, good time, is Miss Leah McSweeney. I think she would be awesome to hang and, throw some tiki torches together, just sit around, bullshit, get crazy. I'm hanging out with Leah and Eli. And I want to hang out all three of us together. I think I like that combo.
Yeah, I think it would definitely be a good one. Leah's probably sipping back some O'Doul's. I think she just celebrated a year of sobriety the other day, so very much good for her. But yeah, and listen, you could still pull them back. You could listen. They make O'Doul's, and listen, non-alcoholic beer is a very popular trend right now. It is coming out of the woodwork, and there's so many different brands because I think everyone was just mad that O'Doul's was the only brand. There's so many different brands. You even see, big names like Sam Adams making them now. So listen, it's totally a possibility. So you can definitely take some beers back with Leah.
All right. Question number 2: which single housewife, past or present, do you want to see find love the most?
This is just, it's current events, this, question, just the way my mind is. I really want Tinsley to find actual true love.
That's a good answer.
And like, I'm sure she'll maybe go on some dates, if she moves back to the city and it gets nice out, people are getting vaccinated, outdoor seating, going for walks. I'm sure she'll venture out there if Martin gives her a couple pep talks in the ring and the ladies give her. And even if she definitely comes back to Housewives full time, I'm sure, but I do want her to find that ultimate and real connection.
Absolutely. You know what? You're spot on with that answer. Totally forgot about my girl Tins there for a moment, and would love that for her. I am going with a newcomer. I'm going with one of the women from Salt Lake City. I think we saw that she wanted to get out there, but was a little bit nervous. I'm talking about Heather Gay.
Oh, I'd love for her to have a just phenomenal boyfriend, fiance, hubby, anything, whatever.
Heather is a catch, and the worst part is that she doesn't see herself that way. And
she's a freaking catch.
I think she needs to work on her self-confidence a little bit. I think she's got a great personality. I think she's a lot of fun. I know that it's a little tough out there in Salt Lake City in that community for her to find somebody, and that's why I'm like, her back already seems against the wall, and I'm really rooting for her to get out there and find her match.
Yeah.
Okay, and last but not least, this is a fun one that was sent in. Name the best Brower. Go. If you don't know this, you should know this by now. Caitlin's last name is Brower. She is a Brower who is the best in the Brower family. Do you possibly answer this, or is it just me answering?
Well, I don't know. I would prefer if you answered first, because if you don't say me, I'm going to kick you out of the broadcast and finish this. No, I'm kidding. But it's hard because I guess you open it up to so many people now, because my brother Joseph is obviously married to my sister-in-law Andrea, and I have 2 nieces and a nephew. So do we open it up to everyone? Because that might change my answer. So it's the whole Brower clan, and then I've got cousins with the last name Brower too. So listen, there's a lot of people in the New Jersey Brower clan.
Yeah.
You go first.
Okay. I was, thinking of the best loophole that I could on this. Are you gonna? So I'm going to answer. I'm going to say Mama Brower. Okay.
She probably is watching. I see 2 people watching on Facebook. I 100% think she's watching right now.
I'm going to give the love to Mama Brower, because not only is she just awesome in her own right, love her, love her, love her, but she gave birth to some of my best friends. So that's my loophole there, is like, if it was not for Mama Brower, I wouldn't have, you and your sister and Christopher. 3 of you guys are 3 of my best friends. And so I have her to thank for that. So Mama Brower, I'm giving it to you.
Oh, that is so nice. And I guarantee you she's watching right now. I always can tell who of my family is watching when the ticker count goes up of who's watching where, because I know where they all watch too. So my mom is probably definitely watching right now, and she prefers to watch in the beginning. I think she watches 10 minutes and then just kind of is all right, that's it. So I'll take the support there. Listen, I'm just gonna, I'll show my nepotism that I'm gonna say Caitlin. I'm gonna say myself. And my brother Christopher just commented on Facebook saying, "What?" I can show it on screen. You can see in the bottom left corner. Christopher just said what? So I guess he's very upset with you. That's probably why he submitted the question. So, we did get this great too. Thank you, Lynn. I'm a fan of the Brower family. Yeah. It warms my heart that a lot of people are. So
listen, there's a lot of good Browers to choose from, so you can't go wrong.
I really do appreciate that. But yeah, so I'm going to go with myself. I think I am my favorite Brower. Obviously, prior to a couple of months ago, Tucker was my favorite Brower. He still is. He still is my favorite Brower, but he was my go-to. I didn't really like anyone else. I just liked him and the family. No, but we do have a good squad, so there's a lot. I'd be curious if you are watching right now and you do know our family. Who's your favorite Brower? Let us know.
Chime in.
Let us know in the comment section. If it's not me, then stop following our podcast.
Oh my God. No pressure. No pressure. We're not going to lose fans tonight.
No, we are definitely not. Oh, and yeah, so Lynn, who just commented, is Jackson Bowe's mom. So we are very, very close with Jackson Bowe. They are two of our greatest fans, Jackson Bowe and now their mom are great fans of the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. So thank you for the support. Keep watching. We will continue to deliver you guys great content. But listen, those were our questions. But as always, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter right now. Go ahead, send the questions in throughout the show. We will answer. We've got nothing to hide. We'll answer your questions. Don't you worry. So send them in. And while you are thinking of the greatest questions in the world to ask us, we are going to go ahead and get into the big stories of the week for football.
Yep.
So this is the biggie that kind of came out of left field, maybe for some people. I'm sure we knew moves were happening, but I didn't know what moves were happening. So the Jets have traded Sam Darnold to the Carolina Panthers. It's so funny. Every time I see Sam Darnold's name, I feel like it's spelled incorrectly. The name Darnold for me, I feel like it's always wrong. Like I'm writing it out incorrectly. Like there's something about it. It's just, I know it's like a random side note, but I always feel like I'm spelling it incorrectly.
Well, it's Arnold, just with the D.
And I think that's what's throwing me off. I want to call him Sam Arnold. And I know, and the Panthers actually tweeted out a Hey Arnold gif. And they kind of made that reference. And I was like, oh, it's kind of clever. Social media in Carolina, not doing a bad job. I give you major props there. So yesterday, Ian Rappaport reported that the New York Jets quarterback Sam Darnold has been traded to Carolina in exchange for a 2021 sixth-round pick, a second and fourth round picks in 2022. So that's it. There you go. There's a trade. So Carolina was reportedly the sole suitor for Sam Darnold, despite also having Teddy Bridgewater on the roster, which you guys know, Teddy's my boy. I will actually give you a little sneak peek here for you to continue watching and listening. I will get into that a little bit later. So the Carolina Panthers will look to Sam Darnold to be their starter. And now they're going to look to try to trade Teddy Bridgewater or adjust his contract. So you have two of those items in there now. Apparently, rumor has it on the street, or maybe what?
More likely trade is coming out.
More likely trade, but I don't know if it's official yet or if it's just rumor on the street, but they've given him, the opportunity to seek for a trade. So he's okay to go and do it. So whatever. So that's that. So Teddy Bridgewater is currently on the second year of a 3-year, $63 million contract that was signed last offseason. Listen, I've been looking at things that say he goes to the Patriots and they pick up a certain amount of million, they're still on the hook for him for multiple millions of dollars. And it's that's what I guess mind boggles me. And I'm not getting into monetary value later in the show. I'm getting into more moral side of things. But that to me is just, it seems a little you were so trigger happy with him and giving him this 3-year contract. And now you're going to be on the hook for a decent amount of dollars. So whatever. And it was only one season. It's not like a guy like Carson Wentz where the Eagles had him for a decent amount of time and now they're on the hook. Well, whatever. Regardless, more details around this. Sam Darnold is only 23 years old, with who we need to remember. I keep forgetting that. How is that draft class only 23? You have a guy like Baker Mayfield.
He was 20 years old coming in. He was young.
But I'm thinking of guys like, Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I'm thinking they've been around for 6-7 years now. They've already been I can't even. So, so he was the 3rd overall pick that year in the 2018 draft. So the Jets will likely be selecting his replacement. They are at the number 2 spot. Do not forget. And the Panthers still, though, too, have the 8th pick. So if they just picked up their quarterback and they're in that 8 slot, you think someone could probably potentially come down? Patriots, maybe? I said they're going to swoop into the top 10. Maybe they come after the Panthers now with this. But, and that's just, speculation as we inch closer to the draft. Right. So I'm getting more open to speculations now. But, and who knows? But also, too, you bring on a new quarterback in Sam Darnold. You got to rework that offense a little bit. You obviously have Christian McCaffrey coming off an injury. But what else can you add to that team? That 8th pick, you can add massive weapons in this draft.
Yeah, well, I think the thing with these two teams involved is it really came down to the number for both of them, the number
Right.
that they were picking in the draft. So Joe Douglas, GM for the Jets, actually did come out in an interview and say, if we were picking later, this probably wouldn't be a discussion. Sam Darnold would probably still be our quarterback. And he said the fact that we are number 2 is essentially the reason that they made this move. So yeah, they're taking a quarterback at number 2.
But why don't you then build on him offensive? Or I don't know. I don't know. That is weird to me.
So
that commentary.
And then the reason I think that Carolina got in the mix and took Sam Darnold, I think, is because of the fact that at the 8th pick, I think they were fearful that we need a quarterback.
You won't get a quarterback.
They thought they needed a quarterback.
Right.
And they didn't think that they were going to get anybody because a lot of people, myself included, are thinking that 4 quarterbacks could easily go off the board in the first 4 picks. So if you're picking number 8, you still got a couple of teams ahead of you that could also take quarterbacks. There could be 5 gone before you get to 8. Who knows? I just felt like they were like, we're not going to get one of these rookies that we would actually want. Let's see who else is out there that maybe we can grab. And I think that's what happened. And as far as winners and losers in this aspect, Carolina barely gave up anything for Sam Darnold. So to me, it's like,
but doesn't that tell you something as an organization? You barely gave up something to get your future quarterback?
I think he's kind of like, in my mind, I feel as though Sam Darnold is kind of on par with Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think he's an upgrade from Teddy Bridgewater. I think they're around the same. So to me, it was like you barely gave up anything. You couldn't just roll the dice and gamble on Sam Darnold. Maybe he will reach his potential playing for a new offense and playing in a new system. You never know. You never know.
It's another year of them being trigger happy with a quarterback, though. I just explained what they did with Teddy Bridgewater.
They weren't going to get, they could have just kept with Teddy Bridgewater. But if they really, really wanted somebody else, like they weren't going to get a rookie. And they'll just, again, barely gave up anything for Darnold. Roll the dice, see what happens. You never know.
But if you I don't know. What are you going to do? It's because if you think about it from the Panthers' perspective, you had Cam Newton for so long. You had this instinct. You had this gut feeling that he was your guy. Well, guess what? At the end of the day, he did not become your guy. So you pulled the trigger on someone like Teddy Bridgewater. And a year into a 3-year contract of $63 million, you're ready to make another. A rookie quarterback makes sense because you put him under Teddy Bridgewater or you have them duke it out. Someone like Sam Darnold, again, that's that like, whoop, let's go grab him real quick and see what happens.
I think it's going to be their best option. I think that was going to be like their only option, though. I don't
think they needed an option.
The only other thing they could have done is try to trade up and get one of those top quarterbacks in the draft.
Right.
And maybe they tried. Maybe they were trying to wheel and deal behind the scenes, and nobody was biting. Maybe the person that was biting was the Miami Dolphins, and San Fran went up and snatched that 3rd pick. So maybe
but listen,
they felt desperate. I don't know.
Yeah. And you bring in Sam Darnold and you say he's your starter, but technically, as of today, April 7th, 2021, you have 2 starting quarterbacks on your roster. So, you need to figure that out.
I think Teddy's going to be traded. I think that's what's going to happen. So, I just one name that shoots off the very top of my head very quickly. I did read something like maybe Teddy Bridgewater would be a good fit in Denver, the Broncos.
I'll get into that later.
You and I were like fans. We supported like the whole Drew Lock thing, and we thought he just, he got hurt and he kind of got the short end of the stick. I'd still like them to try and give Drew Lock a shot, but the Broncos are, again, I think the Broncos are like the 7th pick. So they're in a position like Carolina is, where they're probably going to miss out on one of those rookie quarterbacks. So maybe they do need to look at who's just out there now, and maybe that could be a good fit for Teddy.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But let's talk about our second big story. It goes along with this first story in just quarterback discussions that are also going on throughout the league. With San Fran's move to the 3rd overall pick in the draft, it was reported that the team now has their asking price for quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, which would be a 1st-round pick. They kind of just feel like
has to be kind of.
They kind of feel like they're in the driver's position where they're very much okay with keeping Jimmy and a rookie. So if anybody really, really wants him,
and I think that's great for them. Like I think that they are in, like, they're holding the power. Like they have like the power stick. Like that's where they are.
We'll gladly keep a rookie and Jimmy, but if somebody's desperate enough and really needs a quarterback and is willing to take Jimmy for a first round pick, we'll do that.
Yeah.
So they're in a great position. A kind of like, the rumor mill that's still going on is like, would New England be willing to knock on the door and bring back Jimmy Garoppolo? Another thing that's being floated around right now that I told Caitlin before the show that I just heard today from Mr. Adam Schefter, certainly been seeing it in a lot of mock drafts in the last couple of days. Adam Schefter said for sure the San Francisco 49ers are going to be taking Alabama quarterback Mac Jones with the third pick. I've read other articles where people have said the same thing and that San Fran really likes Mac Jones for their offensive system.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, we're like a month out.
It's
like
too early for me to be set on things. Like,
I know. And Caitlin said that before the show, and I'm like, I agree with you. But
makes me sweat. Like, I can't.
Coming of Adam Schefter's mouth is, there's some merit there.
Makes me sweat a little bit more, to be honest, that it's coming out of his mouth. But unless you're Jacksonville, and I even in my mind still feel like something wild's going to happen with, I don't even know, but unless you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Trevor Lawrence is your guy, I just can't. You cannot be 100% sold on someone when the draft is 3 weeks away. There's so many moving parts. There's just,
I think whatever rumors that these inside reporters get the inside scoop, whatever these rumors are, who's to say these aren't things being said for teams to throw off reporters and try to trick them and hold tight to their chest what they actually want to do. Oh, San Fran, let's make everybody think we're going to take Mac Jones because we like him and we like him in our system. But really, it's because we want to take this guy. You never know.
No, exactly.
But other quarterback news on Friday was reported that Houston could pursue quarterback Alex Smith if Deshaun Watson is not on the team this fall. They're preparing themselves for anything that could happen. Watson currently,
it doesn't look good, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
legal-wise, it doesn't look good.
So Watson is currently facing 21 civil lawsuits now. We talked about this recently, obviously alleging indecent conduct and sexual assault. Also, even before any of that broke, he did request a trade from Houston earlier this offseason. But let's also not forget that Houston has Tyrod Taylor. But of course, if you're not going to have Deshaun Watson, you need to have Tyrod Taylor and somebody else.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that would be great. I think teams need to definitely take Alex Smith into consideration. I know I would. And then last but not least, Ron Rivera announcing that Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to be the starting quarterback, but that he will face competition. That's in Washington. He will.
But then why say that then? Why say he's your starter if it's so stupid. I hate that.
So Ron Rivera, if you read further on, Ron Rivera did say how last season when they were going in, they did say that Dwayne Haskins was going to be the guy. And instead of really making him compete in the offseason for that starting job, Ron Rivera said, I just gave him as many first team snaps as I possibly could instead of actually having him compete against some of the other guys we had. And then obviously we saw how that panned out. You had Haskins play, you had you had Kyle Allen play, you had Heineke play. So it was, he doesn't want to do that again. So yes, as of right now, Ryan Fitzpatrick is the starting quarterback, but he wants everybody to know that he is going to be facing quarterback competition. He also said it won't stop Washington from adding another quarterback through the draft or free agency. For now, Fitzmagic will obviously compete against Taylor Heineke and Kyle Allen. And
I just don't like naming someone when there's going to be competition. I just think that's very premature.
I think you still...
What are you naming them for?
People want to know what the depth chart is. People want to know, as of right now.
For what? It's April.
I'm fine with it. I think you can say it and just be like, Yeah, that's what it is today, but it doesn't mean that that's what it will be week 1. He's going to go through other guys besides him are going to get first team reps. It just is what it is. But it's Ron Rivera, like, kind of showing that he learned from his mistake from last year.
Well, yeah.
And yes, Ryan is the starter, but he's still but he's still going to have to earn that through camp in order to still be the starter week 1.
Yeah.
So that's what we got going on in the world of quarterbacks. Who knows? Maybe next week we're going to be talking about a new team for Teddy Bridgewater. We'll see.
Oof. It's another year of the quarterback. We spoke about that in 2020, but 2021 is shaping out to be it's probably like a hybrid year. So it's the year of the quarterback and the year of the wide receiver. I think we got a decent amount of those coming up as well.
Right.
So definitely a twofold there. But all righty, so let's get into our big stories of the week for housewives. And we got 2 big ones for you. Our first one is a, addition onto last week. Don't worry, we are going to completely keep you guys updated on the Jen Shah arrest news. So as soon as we hear information, we will let you guys know.
Yep.
So after being arrested last Wednesday for apparently running a massive telemarketing fraud scheme, Jen has pleaded not guilty in court on Friday. It's funny because these court sessions are obviously Skype sessions. So people are Zoom sessions. So people have been joining random people. So there is actual audio recordings out and people of the Bravo universe joined. Literally people you and I joined
eating that shit up.
We should have. I don't understand why we did. And I remember the first day of hearing, they had to postpone it because too many people entered the thing. And it was because all Bravo fans. So we are a strong community.
We are.
We just want to know the tea, people. That's all we want to know. So she did plead not guilty in court on Friday. So the judge set a $1 million bond secured by $250,000 cash or property separately. So Jen has 2 weeks to come up with that. So listen, I think $1 million is particularly low, just giving the stature of her. She's the CEO of 8 companies. Her husband's a football coach, everything like that. I don't know. So I think it's a little low. But Jen has been posting and responding to fans' comments on social media saying that she is innocent. Of course, I don't think you'd go out and say you're guilty of all the charges, and then and asking them, don't believe these accusations. She did say that she was going to continue filming the second season of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So it's taking place right now. So that's a little, but I did read up too that the judge said she can continue what she's doing in the state of Utah.
She can't leave the state. Yeah.
So technically, yes, she legally can still film, which is freaking wild. And Bravo producers are probably like, girl, this is a gold mine. So, and it is confirmed that Andy Cohen has finally broken his silence. I think a lot of people were kind of poking him and finding out, what he felt about the situation. And also, too, on his radio show on Monday, a caller did call in and ask. He said he is waiting to see how it plays out. I think a very strategic answer there. That he has nothing to add, and that we, other than what we already know, and he hopes and prays that it's not true. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very strategic and press or a PR focused response. So, which I'm actually maybe a little surprised by Andy. I feel he's outspoken in certain ways, and I know he's obviously contracted by Bravo, and Housewives is his child, but I don't know. I feel like he's been a little bit outspoken on other things before. So maybe obviously the legalities behind this, but
yeah, I think that is, it's just, I think it's how a lot of people feel when it happens with legal situations. It's
right.
You're innocent until proven guilty. So it's kind of you're not necessarily going to say whether you believe it or not until you know all the facts and figures and everything like that. So I kind of understand having that viewpoint and not just it sounding like it's just a PR thing to say, because listen, it did happen on the radio. It was a call-in. It's like he wasn't expecting it, whatever.
Right.
I think that's just kind of like, I do believe that's kind of a natural reaction for people to have. I feel like it's like with the Deshaun Watson thing. It's like,
right.
We talked about it on the show when we were like, all right, well, we don't yet know what the truth is. So
yeah. No, and I honestly, it's a great comparison because like I feel like I am still like in that boat with like him and his story too. It's like you don't really know like what to comment on because you definitely don't want to throw someone under the bus and like really ruin their reputation.
You don't want to go so far the one way and then find out that it wasn't true. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right.
All right, well, let's get into our second juicy story of the week in the world of housewives. I know I was really like surprised to see some of these things pop up on my Instagram, all the Giudice fam, posting to their stories. They all reunited in the Bahamas this past week.
Looks like a lot of fun.
It looked beautiful weather, beautiful scenery, all getting together. Joe, Teresa, their 4 daughters, and Teresa's new boyfriend, Louis. So
Louis was there.
He was there. And the group even sat down to dinner all together with Joe and Louis meeting for the first time. I do have a quote from Joe Giudice. He did, speak on that dinner. He said, "You can all imagine how I felt when they walked in the room. It was awkward to see my ex after a lifetime together with someone else. Teresa and I decided to be honest and remain friends with one another for the girls. Parenting should always be about giving your children the best outcomes for every situation. I believe we deserve to all be happy, and our children will thank us for it. I am genuinely happy for both Teresa and Louis and wish them the best."
Like, are you sure that's Joe Giudice talking? I am like, to see like where like him and Teresa are now is just so healthier than they've ever been in their entire lives. And maybe they'll disagree with that comment to me because they have a lifetime together. They have all these daughters together, but like we saw so much of it like on TV and like maybe more intimate moments like happened behind closed doors. But where I see them now, like when he occasionally comes up on FaceTime, during this season, or, what they're posting on social media, like to me, like they're just so much healthier now. And like, I respect like the shit out of that.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely hear a lot of divorced couples kind of come out and say, especially like, the ones that have kids saying, it's better for our kids actually for us to be divorced because we're a much happier mom and a much happier dad, and we get along much better not being together.
And that's the important thing.
Yeah, and this is certainly one of those cases, and I think he's right. I think their girls are going to thank them for it, for keeping like a friendly, united front of like, at the end of the day, we're all family, and we wish the best for one another. We all went through hell. Let's just try to bounce back from that the best we can. So last month, Teresa was on Watch What Happens Live, and she did tell Andy Cohen that Louis had been the one to suggest that he wanted to go to the Bahamas to meet Joe.
Okay.
And reports are saying that Joe actually has relocated to the Bahamas and is living there. I don't know.
Yes, I think I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's recent. Like I think it's happened like within the past like 2 or 3 months. Like
I mean, it definitely sucks that like he lost Teresa and the girls and like can't live in the U.S. And at least he was living in Italy and he had family in Italy. However, living in the Bahamas is a much closer flight to New Jersey than it is Italy. Hopefully, it definitely gives him more of an opportunity to see his daughters.
And some of the and honestly, like, I could be wrong. I'm not a healthcare expert, but to my knowledge, like a lot of like the islands, like were actually pretty safe, like and like constrained, like from COVID. So, and like obviously Italy at one point it was like one of the worst countries. So we actually saw that like from the housewives, like with reports and everything, like when he was there. So, so maybe like this is actually probably better for his family to go visit, both from like a health standpoint, but then also like a quick transportation standpoint too.
Absolutely. So the fact that I think he is living there now. Louis said to Teresa, "I wanted to go to the Bahamas." The two had talked on the phone before, but Louis basically said like, "I want to meet him in person and let him know that, yes, I spend a lot of time around your daughters, but I'm not trying to take your place.
Yeah.
But I will be there for them. Which is a very respectable thing, of course. While in the Bahamas, the heated New Jersey episode aired last week, where Joe and Melissa expressed their anger and frustration with Joe Giudice, to which Teresa actually took to Instagram to defend Joe. This, like I said, it aired while they were in the Bahamas, while they were all together. And Teresa on her Instagram said, "Tonight's episode is hard for my girls and I. Joe is the father to my children, and even though we split, I respect his relationship with my daughters. So it's hard for them to see my brother disparage him for the sake of my daughters who have already been through so much loss. My mother adored Joe, and that's what my girls saw and remember. I hope from this point we can all move forward on a more positive note for the sake of our family." Now, Caitlin and I talked about this before the show, saying like kind of ironic that whole episode was about like Joe and Melissa being pissed off that Teresa was defending Joe Giudice.
Right.
And here again, it's kind of she's defending Joe Giudice. And I don't disagree with anything she said right there.
Right.
But I said to Caitlin, I just think it needs to be a thing where Joe and Melissa never have to deal with Joe Giudice ever again. So they don't need to bring him up. But Joe Giudice also doesn't need to bring them up. Just like stay out of it. You guys don't even have to be family anymore. So
you're technically like you're done. Like it's not
right. And Frank Catania said it in the last episode. He was like, "Dude, just chill out. Like he's not even your brother-in-law.
No,
like, just let it go." So again, it's just it seemed as though the dinner with Louis that went well. That was nice. And living in the Bahamas, more time with his daughters. The girls seem happy. Teresa's obviously happy. Hopefully it's a happy rest of the chapters and rest of the book after everything that they've been through.
And a lot they have been through for sure. So let's hopefully, it's going through, sailing into a nice sunset. So let's continue to, yes, in the Bahamas. Let's continue to do that for that family. All righty, let's play a game. It is football related, and we did bring up the big Sam Darnold trade before. Yeah. So that is what our game is about tonight. We are playing, quote unquote, is Sam Darnold better than ... So basically the game is, with the Jets trading Sam Darnold to the Panthers, we're wondering, is he actually a solid QB1 option? And, how does he compare to some of the other quarterbacks in the league right now? And basically, Katie and I aren't going to really break this down too difficult for you guys. We're simply asking the question, is Sam Darnold better than blank? So we have, let me pull down my list, 10 options for you. So we have 10 quarterbacks for you right now, and we are going to compare them to Sam Darnold, and like we said, ask you the basic AF question, is he better than them? So starting with number 1, we have a very controversial quarterback in my opinion. Mitchell Trubisky. Is he better? Is Sam Darnold better than Mitch Trubisky?
I'm saying yes.
I am as well.
Statistically, actually, Trubisky is a bit better just because one of the main things is Trubisky's much more accurate passer, much better completion percentage. But again, it's like another thing of I said before with the whole Teddy Bridgewater thing and Darnold. It's like I'd rather roll the dice on Darnold on a new team and a new system and think that he'd still be better than Trubisky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, honestly, just like, I think there's more riding on Mitch Trubisky, and he was given so many opportunities. And like, I know, but like,
it's already over now for him. He's backing up Josh Allen.
Right.
It's over now. Like at least Darnold is still being considered a starting quarterback.
Right. So if anything changes with Sam Darnold in the next year or two in regards to that, then maybe I'll reconsider my pick. But Yeah. All right, number 2, and this one was a little interesting, but is Sam Darnold better than Andy Dalton?
I'm going to say no.
I went with yes. Andy Dalton just doesn't do it for me. And like, I think like so many people are so gung-ho to say that like, listen, he's taken his team to the playoffs. He, stepped in for Dak Prescott. But like, listen, you stepped in for Dak Prescott. You were a backup to a younger quarterback of Dak Prescott for someone who was the Bengals starter for so long. And then the argument that you brought your team to the playoffs, they never won a playoff game. So what is that on your resume?
I don't disagree with you on there. That's the huge like setback on Andy Dalton in his career, but he has shown that he can win more than Sam Darnold has shown that he can win. And
I just think Sam Darnold's been given the shit out of the stick in the New York Jets.
Which is why in this next chapter, we are going to see, was it Sam Darnold that sucked? Was it the Jets that sucked? Do they both just suck? Like, this is going to tell us a lot.
I think it is, but like, I'm still like mind boggled that he's moving on from the Jets. I sincerely just thought they just needed to build around him because I do think he's a decent quarterback. I really do. Like, and I've said that. I've said for the past, how many years he's been here that he is their franchise quarterback. Well, guess what? I was proved wrong on Monday.
I'm basically riding the train that says, did the Jets ever give him anything to work with? No, definitely not. But I'm riding the train of, I'm still, regardless of that fact, I don't think Sam Darnold is a solid quarterback. So that's the train I'm riding.
Alrighty. Is Sam Darnold better than Jimmy Garoppolo?
I'm saying no, and he's not that Jimmy is a better game manager.
Yes.
And in parentheses, I put, I'm saying that as a compliment. Jimmy's better.
Yeah, I 100% think he's better. I think the word that comes to mind is poise. I just think because let's look at this past year, and I know Jimmy Garoppolo did get hurt, but like prior to the game he got hurt when his whole team was getting hurt, coming off of a Super Bowl run, there was a little bit poised there, and it was, kind of, he's been there. Like Sam Darnold, he'll make some great plays, but then other times, it's like a deer in the headlights. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Absolutely. And sometimes there's no poise there. So that's the kind of word that stands out there.
Yeah.
All right. Number 4, is Sam Darnold better than Carson Wentz? Another interesting one.
I'm saying no.
I'm saying no as well.
And a fun fact that I wrote down is that both of these quarterbacks started 12 games last season, and Wentz finished with a 72.8 QBR, and Darnold finished with a 72.7.
Ooh.
So they were definitely on par with each other as far as this past season goes. But Carson Wentz has the better resume. He does. He's just obviously, he got hit by the injury bug real bad. But he obviously had that one season where he looked like an MVP caliber talent, and he's still at the end of the day better than Sam Darnold.
And with this move, to be honest, and I know right now, we can make decisions based off statistics, but if you're looking towards the future, clearly these two quarterbacks are moving into two different teams. Yeah. I don't know what Carolina can offer the Panthers. I know the Colts, and I know their new offensive coordinator. I know that they can give Carson Wentz kind of that flexibility and that freedom to do what he wants. And what Carson Wentz wants to do is really, launch that ball downfield. And he was a little nervous to do that in Philly. So I think he'll actually be a little bit more successful in Indianapolis. And I right now, and I know Monday was, 3 days ago, or 2 days ago, I don't know what Carolina can offer Sam Darnold. So I'm not convinced yet. So that's again too, I know right now we can talk about stats, current stats, but future wise too, I still can see Carson Wentz as being better in the future. Still.
I also think if any quarterback was given the opportunity, who do you want to play for right now, Indy or Carolina? Indy's obviously the better. Right. So yeah, that's a huge difference.
All righty. Number 5, is Sam Darnold better than Derek Carr?
No, and I said that Derek Carr is probably the best name on this list of quarterbacks that we're going to rattle off.
Yeah, I said no too. And It's like, I mean, like, listen, like Derek Carr, like his whole like career has been just like
It's been
royally
up and down. It's been a bit of a roller coaster ride.
and it's upsetting to me because before he broke his leg, like I was like team Derek Carr. Like I loved watching him.
You and I both thought he was good. He was like a stud.
Yeah, and now it's just like he never really bounced back from it. And like I'm actually
year this past season.
I'm actually surprised with how lenient Las Vegas has been with him. Like, because we talk about this all the time. The quarterback in this era of football, the quarterback is such a touchy position where it's like you don't do well. And the same thing with head coaches. You're like, oh, okay, bye. It's like bye.
Yeah. I'm shocked that they have never dumped him.
Yeah.
Because I know that there were always like people were always talking about it, like move on from Derek Carr, move on from Derek Carr. And to their credit, they haven't. And he's still like good enough to be that starting quarterback there. So it's good that they haven't given up on him when everybody else, like in the past, has, like I said, wanted to dump him. So
yeah. All righty, number 6. Is Sam Darnold better than Cam Newton?
I'm saying yes. I don't, and I'm saying my main reason is because I don't think Cam can produce with his arm anymore. It's all with his legs.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I mean, I'm going with the Cam of right now. I mean, that's how we're looking at it. Like right now, who's better? I'd rather have Sam Darnold.
I literally put yes / no because I honestly like I couldn't tell you. Like I just it's really like because like like I don't know. And like I wouldn't be shocked.
We saw how Cam ended in Carolina. We're seeing how Sam Darnold's going to start in Carolina. I mean, I'm not saying those rosters are exactly the same from when the guys were there, but you know, Cam had Christian McCaffrey, he had a lot of those guys, so that'll be interesting.
No, but you are 100% correct, though. It's like with the current state of Cam Newton, I think that's why I actually put the words yes down on that paper. You know, it's because what is his current state? It's not, I don't think it's good, in my opinion. And it's just, that's really it. So,
yeah.
All righty, number 7, Alex Smith.
I said no.
As did I.
And I said, like Jimmy G, Smith is a way better game manager.
He is, and we saw it. We saw it this season. Like we said it. Like you know, one of the episodes after they played the Giants, we did not want him to play us. Like we did not want him to go.
No, I still get. Regardless of anything, I still get scared when Alex Smith comes on the field. I think a lot of us. It's kind of like a Ryan Fitzpatrick thing. A lot of people are like, but he could have Fitzmagic at any moment. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're still
of course
intimidated.
Yeah. No. Definitely.
Alrighty.
Speaking of Ryan Fitzpatrick, is Sam Darnold better than him?
I said no, and that the magic still shows life.
Listen, the magic is still showing life. You know, he's not my favorite quarterback. I'm so iffy with his ups and downs, but I do think that he's been able to shine on like 12 different teams. So like
he can win.
We do need to see what Sam Darnold can produce with an entirely new team. So I don't think he's going to be overcoming as much adversity as Ryan Fitzpatrick. And I know I use the word adversity, but what I mean by that is Ryan Fitzpatrick has been like a backup on like 12 different, has to go start one weekend, sit next weekend, but then start for 15 games, then start like all this stuff. Like that's the adversity I'm talking about. I don't think Sam Darnold's ever going to be put through that. He's not going to, but I just have to see what he can do in another organization. But for now, I do think Ryan Fitzpatrick is better.
Yeah.
All right, number 9, Jameis Winston. Is Sam Darnold better than him?
I feel like this was a little bit of a tough one for me.
No, Jameis Winston sucks.
I said
I'm not sold on him.
I said no.
I said yes. I just know. Jameis Winston's not a good quarterback.
So here's my thing. I said no because Jameis can sling it. Honestly, he can.
Accurately, though, and hit his target?
Well, here's what I'm going to get at. He can sling it. He had the year, 2 seasons ago, where he threw the most touchdowns in the league. Now,
that was shocking.
He threw a shit ton of interceptions, right?
Right.
However, the reason I'm giving him the edge is because Sam Darnold throws a lot of interceptions as well. If Sam Darnold didn't have a lot of interceptions, right, I would give this to Sam Darnold. But you've got two guys who throw a lot of interceptions, and then you have Sam Darnold who does not throw a lot of touchdowns, and Jameis Winston does. So to me, it's like, there you go. I'm going to give the edge to Jameis.
Yeah. I just can't. I'm just not on the Jameis Winston. I can't.
Neither am I. But that goes on par with me saying that I'm also not a believer in Sam Darnold. So it's like, if I have to choose, if you've got my feet in the fire, who do I have to pick?
Right. All righty. And to round this out, number 10, my favorite part of this one, Mr. Teddy Bridgewater. Is Sam Darnold better than Teddy Bridgewater, who he will be replacing in Carolina?
Yeah. I think this was a good way to end it here and very fitting with my answer. I'm giving this a tie. I think Teddy is way, way more accurate, but both struggle to produce touchdowns and have thrown a similar amount of interceptions. Like I keep saying, it's another situation of rolling the dice. Maybe we're going to see a resurrected career for Sam Darnold. Maybe he is going to play better on this new team. I'm going to call it a draw because I even said at the beginning of the show, I don't think Sam Darnold is an upgrade over Teddy Bridgewater. I think they're kind of on the same playing field for me. So that's how I'm going to cut it. Tie.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet and to the point. No, Sam Darnold is not better than Teddy Bridgewater. And that is an opinion I will take to my grave.
End scene. Cut.
But that is it. That was our game. That was fun. There's clearly, listen, we could have done every single quarterback in the league. We could have done some backups in the league right now and compared them to Sam Darnold. But that's like what Katie and I keep talking about. Yeah. The quarterback scene is hot, hot, hot. And guess what? It's getting hotter and hotter as we inch closer to draft day because 4 potential quarterbacks can go 1, 2, 3, 4 for the first time in history. So, guys, like, hold on to your seats because quarterback year, it's round 2 for the year of the quarterback.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, time in the night to get it off our chest, positive, negative, Housewives, football, beer for National Beer Day. Anything you want to talk about, vent about, be passionate about. And I think it would just be good to get right into this one for you, Caitlin, and go off of the game we just played. I know you want to talk about it.
Well, I'm totally getting it off my chest. And if you guys, watch us, listen to us week after week, and maybe tuned in on a couple of episodes, I am a huge Teddy Bridgewater fan. I really do like him. I think he's a very talented player. It's very unfortunate that early in his career with the Minnesota Vikings, he did suffer an injury, but I do not think suffering that injury should, relay into what he's dealing with now. I think he is one of the most disrespected players in the NFL. I do not think NFL teams, general managers, coaches, I don't want to say players because I think players do respect him. Yeah. I'm just going to go with coaches, general managers, and anyone in the management office. I think they do not throw him the respect that he deserves. Teddy Bridgewater is a talented quarterback, and it drives me up the wall that he moves from Minnesota to New Orleans. Do I agree with him backing up Drew Brees, like one of the best quarterbacks of all time? Yes, of course. And guess what happened when Drew Brees got hurt? He went in and did a great job for New Orleans. Yeah. And this is where I want to differentiate him from the crowd and people calling him a backup and a great backup to have. He was a backup to Drew Brees and went in half the season and actually played well. Not played well for any team. He played well for the New Orleans Saints. Won them games. So
but could people argue that you had success because you were playing for the New Orleans Saints, a really good football team? What if that team was a trash team that sucked and then Teddy went in there?
And played well? That's him just playing well because he's a good quarterback.
It's always easier to play well when you're playing on a good team.
Well, if you're a quarterback, the main position of the team, if you're a shitty quarterback,
or if you have a good offensive line, you know how critical that is.
Yeah, but
I'm playing devil's advocate.
No, and I know you are, and that's fine. And I think our audience would too, because this is something it could be potentially a very, very hot and spicy take on my end. Yeah. But New Orleans too is a team that has a run and a passing game. They're strong on both ends. So it's not like, oh, like Teddy came in and we just ran the ball. Hell no. He was throwing balls to Michael Thomas. He was there. Everyone was there. So like, that bothers me too. Like that drives me up the wall. Like he went in for Drew Brees on the New Orleans Saints and like won them games and like was there out there doing things like, you know, if a shitty quarterback went in, like I think it would have been the end of their season. Granted, they didn't go on to win the Super Bowl, but like,
no, he did do a very commendable job for sure.
Very, very commendable. But so again, so I really do. So it sucks too now that I thought, you know, Carolina pulled the trigger, 3 years, $63 million.
They paid him like they wanted him to be the starter.
And they were so gung-ho. And I don't think he had a bad season. I think Carolina had a bad season collectively.
Lost your best player in Christian McCaffrey.
But I would never watch a game and be like, wow, Teddy Bridgewater's playing like shit. I never like pointed that out. And that's not me a biased opinion either. But so I did, as I was thinking of this hot take, because I've thought about this for a really long time. And because I've truly been a fan of Teddy Bridgewater's a very long time. I'm trying to think of like, you know, okay, great. So he's been a backup, has gone in and played games. He's been a starter, you know, got hurt, everything. He's had like a whirlwind in a very short amount of time. Like, who can I compare him to? Like, hey, where can I get this point across? So looking at all these different quarterbacks and like trying to look at things. So I finally landed on Alex Smith. And people might think I'm crazy for trying to compare the two of them. And I'm not saying they're the same exact player. I was just trying to look at someone numbers wise where I can deliver you guys actually how good Teddy Bridgewater is in his actually relatively short career. You know, he hasn't been around for a bazillion years. So let's just start with that to begin with. So obviously Alex Smith has been around since 2005. Teddy Bridgewater entered the league in 2014. So let's get that off the table first. All right. Yeah. So when I read these numbers, there's a difference there. So we understand that. All right. So moving into, you know, certain things. So obviously Alex Smith has started a boatload of games, but Teddy Bridgewater isn't like far behind with the years that they've had. So Alex Smith, 167, Teddy Bridgewater, 49. All right. So he's inching up there as well. I'm trying to think of like, I'm just pulling down, looking at a bunch of things. So winning percentage, Alex Smith has a 0.59% winning percentage. Teddy Bridgewater, 0.53. So again, moving up there a little bit like that. Completion percentage. Teddy Bridgewater is actually higher than Alex Smith. Teddy Bridgewater, 66.5. Alex Smith, 62.6.
Both really good.
Both very, very good. Seeing that on there. So touchdown percentage, Alex Smith, 3.8. Teddy Bridgewater is only 0.4 behind with 3.4%. Mm-hmm. Interception percentage.
Smith does not throw interceptions.
2.1. Teddy Bridgewater, 2.3. So right behind him in a good way. Yeah. In a very good way. Yards per pass attempt, Alex Smith, 6.9. Teddy Bridgewater has the upper hand with 7.3.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
They are both equal with yards gained per pass. So it's 11 and 11 for both of them, which is, you know, whatever. But regardless. And then quarterback rating, Alex Smith, who I feel could definitely come in and start maybe some games in the future, but he's definitely, I don't want to say it's nearing the end of his career, but we don't know what's going to happen in the other. Teddy Bridgewater is still very young. Yeah. Quarterback rating, Alex Smith, 86.9. And Teddy Bridgewater is a 89.6. So it's a little bit higher. So listen, again, I know the years, Alex Smith has more years tackles onto it, but I just had to point out those numbers there because I think that maybe people aren't coming out on Twitter or coming out on their live streams and their podcasts or their, the sports analysts on ESPN or wherever and saying he's a bad quarterback. I'm not saying that people are doing that. I'm just saying that people don't showcase him or give him the respect that he deserves. Everyone loves Alex Smith. Put the injury aside. People loved him before that. He was doing great things. Before Patrick Mahomes took over in Kansas City, Alex Smith was a household name. He was a quarterback that everyone knew. And he was doing big things.
He was winning games. He was winning games for San Fran. He was winning games for Kansas City.
Per the statistics that I just set out there, he was winning games. He was doing big things. So I don't understand why Teddy Bridgewater just kind of gets swept under the rug sometimes. And to my opinion, and I will wrap up by getting off my chest with my initial thought, is that I think he's highly disrespected in the NFL. So, and seen again.
Yeah, I think it's becoming a league where, just like with head coaches, teams are becoming even quicker to move on from people like we've never seen before. And so I kind of look as like, yes, could Teddy, if Sam Darnold's going to be a starter, do I think Teddy Bridgewater should be a starter? Yeah, I do.
Yes.
If Jameis Winston's going to start for the New Orleans Saints, should Teddy Bridgewater be your starter? Yes, I do. But I just think it's a thing of like, there's a lot of game managers out there, and it's either you're going to be cool with having a game manager or you're like ready to move on and like, let me find the next Lamar Jackson. And I'm going to roll the dice.
Which good luck with that, to be honest.
And right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree with a lot of points you have. I do.
Yeah.
As far as get it off my chest, I'll make it quick. It is a Housewives one. We've been talking constantly, giving so much praise to the men on the Real Housewives of New Jersey, how much they bring to that franchise.
As we should.
Kayla and I agree that, like, at the end of the day, our favorite franchise has always been New York.
Mm-hmm.
I feel as though New Jersey's, at least for me, has always been a second. But New York has always, to me, you can't touch it. It's always been number one. And the reason it was always number one is because I felt these girls were good friends, like legitimately friends, and they had so much fun together. Like their moments were so funny, and they would laugh, and they would yes, they would fight, but then they'd be laughing 5 seconds later. And that's what we have always loved the most about them. And now I feel like Jersey, the guys are adding that fun factor to this franchise. It's hysterical. They're great, and they make the girls more fun.
Right.
And so I'm loving this new season. I really am. They're including the men more than ever before, because they know how much we all love it. And I'm not ready to say yet that they're dethroning New York. I'm just saying right now, I'm thoroughly enjoying New Jersey just as much, if not more, than I did like the last season of New York. In the grand scheme of things, New York is still my number one. But I'm really appreciating Jersey and like the turn that they are taking and bringing the men along the journey and making this a really, really fun franchise for the same reason why I love New York.
I definitely agree with that.
They're having a great, great season. I hope you guys are all enjoying it the way we are. Tonight's going to be a little bit of a sad episode where they're going to be honoring No, his life and having a party for him. But through the sad, I'm sure there will be funny and fun moments as well, like I just said. And yeah, I feel like the season's already going too quick. I wanted to slow down a little bit. I'm really enjoying it.
That's what I'm nervous about, because we already got like the halfway through previews.
I think we're on episode 8 or 9 tonight, which is just crazy.
I'm absolutely loving it. And I couldn't agree with you more. Like, I think we've definitely said this in the past, as to why like New York is our favorite franchise, because the girls have fun. They're like, they're easygoing about things like drinking, like sex, cursing, like whatever. They're like, and like I watch like Orange County and Beverly Hills, and like some of these women are just so uptight.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's like they can't even make one sex joke without laughing. You know what I mean? Like
now you got Teresa waving around dildos. So they're not too shy in New Jersey either.
It's truly a blessing what we see.
Vibrators and chicken. You see dildos being waved around.
It's just truly a blessing. But even like the women, like their tiffs are kind of like fading away really quickly, which is always good because the drama, it takes Katie and I to another emotional level that we can't deal with their drama sometimes. But 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, that is our show tonight. Thank you all for joining us. It has been another great episode. We have so much to give you guys every single week. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. It's going to continue to come both on the football and Housewives front. So you don't want to miss out. Other things you don't want to miss. So if you are watching live right now, Housewives starts in a little over, 20 minutes or so. 25 minutes. That's on at 9 p.m. Eastern. Real Housewives of Atlanta is on Sundays at 8 p.m. Dallas is still on at Tuesdays at 9 p.m. I have a feeling they're inching close. They've been on for a decent amount of time, so they're definitely inching close to that finale and that reunion. And then guess what, people? NFL draft, 23 days away. We are
I'm ready.
Getting close, and the speculations and the mock drafts are still coming out. I don't know. I'm getting excited. I like reading it now. We're still too close for comfort for me to make final decisions on things, but we will get there. But as always, thank you everyone for joining us live. Thank you for those who are listening to us on the podcast, and we're live everywhere, so you can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, the gram. Follow us on the Instagram. But yes. Thank you so much, and we will catch you next time. This is The Real Football Fans of New Jersey, and good night.